You know what absolutely destroys everything we believed about loyalty in WWE? Roman Reigns, the same man who swore the Shield was sacred, the same man who built an empire on brotherhood, is now crawling back to Seth Rollins, the architect of betrayal, to form a new Shield with the one person who's been terrorizing the roster for months. And before you explode in the comments calling me crazy, let me ask you this: if Roman was truly the tribal chief, if he was really the head of the table, why does he need Seth Rollins? Why does he need anyone? The answer is going to make your blood boil, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why this isn't just a reunion, it's a calculated destruction of everything the original Shield stood for. But before we dive into this absolute chaos, if you're as fired up about this as I am, smash that subscribe button and demolish that notification bell, because Ring Rumble 1 is your only source for the truth they don't want you to hear. We don't sugarcoat, we don't hold back, and we definitely don't bow down to anyone. Now let's get into this. Let's rewind the clock for a second because context is everything here. The Shield debuted in 2012 as three hungry, vicious warriors who didn't care about fame, glory, or championships. They cared about justice. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose were brothers in arms, unstoppable, unbreakable. Then what happened? Seth Rollins shattered that brotherhood into a million pieces when he drove a chair into Roman's back at the behest of Triple H. That image is burned into our memories forever, Roman on his knees, betrayed by the man he called brother. Fast forward through years of blood feuds, epic battles, and supposedly buried hatchets, and now we're supposed to believe that Roman and Seth are just going to forget all of that. That they're going to hold hands and skip into the sunset with some mystery attacker who's been laying waste to superstar backstage. Give me a break. Here's what really happened, and pay close attention because the pieces of this puzzle are darker than you think. For months now, someone's been attacking superstars backstage. Cameras have been conveniently off during these assaults. Medical staff has been finding top-tier talent laid out in hallways, parking lots, and locker rooms. LA Knight attacked. Cody Rhodes attacked. Even legends making special appearances have been targeted. And WWE wants us to believe this is random. That this is some rogue superstar with a vendetta. No. This was orchestrated from day one. Roman Reigns hasn't been the same since losing his title. The tribal chief, who ruled with an iron fist for over 1,300 days, suddenly found himself vulnerable, mortal, human. And what does a fallen king do when his empire crumbles? He doesn't accept defeat, he rebuilds with whatever tools necessary, even if those tools are covered in the blood of betrayal. Seth Rollins, on the other hand, has been playing the revolutionary, the visionary, the man who wants to save WWE from itself. But let's be real, Seth has always been about Seth. Every alliance he's ever formed has been strategic, calculated to benefit him first. The Shield, he used it to launch his career. The Authority, used it to become WWE champion. His partnership with Roman now. You better believe there's an endgame that serves Seth Rollins first and foremost. Now here's where it gets insane. The mystery attacker isn't some newcomer. It's not some returning legend. Sources close to the situation, and you won't hear this anywhere else, suggest that this mystery attacker has been working with Roman and Seth this entire time. Think about it. Every single person who was attacked had one thing in common. They were threats to either Roman's comeback or Seth's vision for WWE. LA Knight was building massive momentum that could have overshadowed Roman's return. Cody Rhodes, perfect moment to align with the two most calculated manipulators in WWE history. Picture this scenario. The mystery attacker is revealed, and it's someone with deep connections to both Roman and Seth. Someone who understands the Shield mentality but brings a level of brutality that the original trio never possessed. This isn't about justice anymore, this is about domination. This is about creating a faction so powerful, so ruthless, that the entire WWE roster will have no choice but to bow down or be destroyed. And here's what makes this infuriating. We, the fans, are supposed to just accept this. We're supposed to cheer when Roman's music hits, pop when Seth does his cackle, and embrace this new Shield like the old one never existed. They're banking on our nostalgia, our love for what the Shield used to be, to blind us to what this new version represents, a complete bastardization of everything that made the original special. The original Shield fought against injustice. This new Shield, They are the injustice. They're the corporate-backed, strategically aligned, ratings-driven machine designed to keep the same people at the top while everyone else fights for scraps. And the mystery attacker. They're the enforcer, the muscle that keeps everyone else in line through fear and violence. Let's talk about the timing of all this. Right when WWE is gearing up for WrestleMania season, right when they need their biggest stars aligned for maximum profit, suddenly Roman and Seth put aside years of animosity. Right when ratings need a boost, mysteriously a storyline emerges that brings back Shield nostalgia. This isn't storytelling, this is business. And we're being sold a product wrapped in the skin of something we once loved. What's even more maddening is how this undermines the current roster. Think about all the superstars who've been grinding, building their brands, fighting for opportunities. Gunther dominated as Intercontinental Champion for over 600 days, putting on clinic after clinic. LA Knight organically became one of the most over superstars through pure charisma and connection with fans. Drew McIntyre has been clawing his way back to the top with legitimate storytelling. But now they all have to deal with a super faction led by two former Universal Champions and an unidentified wrecking machine. The playing field isn't just tilted, it's vertical. And that's exactly how Roman and Seth want it. Here's another layer that'll make your head spin. What if the mystery attacker isn't just one person? What if this new Shield operates differently, with multiple enforcers rotating in and out? Think about the strategic advantage that provides. They could have eyes and ears everywhere, attacks coming from any direction, plausible deniability for every assault. Roman and Seth maintain their main event status and public images while their network of attackers does the dirty work. It would be the ultimate evolution of the Shield concept. Not just three brothers fighting together, but a full-scale regime that controls WWE through calculated chaos. And honestly, that's terrifying and exactly the kind of twisted genius we'd expect from Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins working together. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What about Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley in AEW? The real heart and soul of the original Shield, the one guy who never betrayed his brothers until WWE's creative disasters pushed him away. How does he feel watching Roman and Seth create a bastardized version of what they built together? Does this open the door for an eventual showdown? Because if there's one person who has the moral authority to call out this sham, it's Mox. He lived the Shield code authentically while Roman and Seth have spent years using it for their own gain. The implications for WWE's future are massive. If this new Shield dominates like we expect, it sets a precedent that the only way to succeed is through faction warfare and strategic alliances. Individual excellence, organic character development, and connecting with fans become secondary to who can assemble the most powerful group. Is that the WWE we want? Is that the wrestling we fell in love with? And for those of you in the comments who are going to say, it's just a storyline, relax, you're missing the point. Yes, it's predetermined. Yes, it's entertainment. But storylines shape culture, they influence what's valued, and they determine who gets opportunities. When WWE tells us that Roman and Seth forming a new Shield with a mystery attacker is what matters most, they're telling every other superstar that their individual journey is less important than maintaining the status quo at the top. Here's my prediction, and you can screenshot this for when it comes true. The mystery attacker will be revealed at a major premium live event, probably WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble. It'll be someone unexpected enough to generate shock value but connected enough to the storyline to make sense in hindsight. This new Shield will dominate for months, collecting championships and destroying everyone in their path. And eventually, just like the original, it'll end in betrayal. Because that's what always happens when you build an alliance on strategy rather than genuine brotherhood. Roman will eventually turn on Seth, or Seth will turn on Roman, or the mystery attacker will turn on both of them. The cycle will continue because that's what WWE does, they repeat the same patterns with slightly different packaging, hoping we won't notice. But we notice. We see through the manipulation. And we have the power to demand better by making our voices heard. So here's what I want from you. Get down in those comments right now and tell me who you think the mystery attacker is. Tell me if you think this new Shield disrespects the legacy of the original. Tell me if you're excited or disgusted by this development. And most importantly, tell me if you think WWE is playing us for fools or if this could actually lead somewhere meaningful. If this video fired you up, Share it with every wrestling fan you know. Let's get this conversation going across the entire community. Hit that like button if you agree that Roman and Seth are manipulating nostalgia for their own gain, or leave it alone if you think I'm completely off base. The wrestling world is about to change forever with this new Shield, and Ring Rumble 1 will be here every step of the way to break down the truth behind the storylines. Subscribe, enable notifications, and join the Rumble.